in Cortland County, where Guthrie Cortland Medical Center announced their adoption of the Respect and Heal program, which is created to raise awareness of violence against healthcare workers in hospitals. 12 News' Kyle Spisak has more on the program, which health officials say works to stop something that's happening far too often.
Across the country, we are seeing an increase in assaults happening to healthcare workers.
Wednesday morning, Guthrie Cortland Medical Center announced they are participating in Respect and Heal, a program designed to protect healthcare workers from violence. Administrative Director of Critical Care Services Wendy Cole-Jajic says they understand the high-stress situation patients may be in, but workers must be protected as well.
They go in stating that I got to make sure that my patient is safe, the rest of my patients are safe, right? We do work in conjunction with our security staff and our local police department as needed to make sure that we're keeping everybody as safe as possible if we do have somebody who's coming in a little more aggressive than we expect.
And new studies from 2022 show that nationally, every hour, 2 healthcare workers become a victim of assault within the workplace. And this is happening across the nation, but also right here at local hospitals as well. President of Guthrie Lords, Kathy Connerton, spoke to 12 News about how important it is to keep workers safe on the job.
There's nothing more important than ensuring that our workspace is safe for our patients, for our staff, all caregivers, families, and providers. Every day, we want to make sure that we can do the best for our community, and to do so, we need our environment that we work in to be a safe and healing place.
At Guthrie Cortland Medical Center alone, this year there were 3 cases seen by the Cortland County District Attorney Office related to violence against healthcare staff, further showing how important it is to protect all staff within hospitals. I'm Kyle Spisak, 12 News, Cortland County.